So are you guys even Devil May Cry fans? Like, David, you played all these games for the first time.
I didn't have a PS2, only had Xbox, so I never had a chance to really play the Devil May Cry games. So when this one came along, I wanted to go through. So I went through Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 all last week, and over the weekend I've been going through Devil May Cry 4. When you play them back to back to back to back, it's really noticeable how Dante's different.
The first game was amazing. Everyone loved it. DMC 2 was not as good. And then DMC 3 was so hard, nobody could even play it. So it's weird for Devil May Cry 4, so much is riding on it, and I think they really got it all right. The difficulty, first of all, is perfect.
It is considerably easier in DMC 3.
Starts out
DMC3, of course, is statistically hard.
Right.
But once you beat the game, you unlock more difficulties. Then you can replay it, and you can get beaten by the enemies as much as you want.
The presentation is pretty amazing, especially the cutscenes are awesome.
I think the graphics throughout are really, really good. The storytelling is much better than I expected. Like the cutscenes are actually interesting to watch and fairly well acted, fairly well written for Devil May Cry.
And the characters are actually somewhat interesting.
Funny to figure an order official out for a stroll in a hellhole kind of place like this.
Hellhole? Watch your words! Just as foul-mouthed as I had heard, the words were true. As were the new ones concerning your demise.
Don't you think that's a little harsh? Killing me because of the way I talk?
Well, I think part of it is because you're playing as Nero, and as a protagonist, he's kind of a serious, endearing guy. You really care about his quest. He's very emo and thoughtful. And then when you get to Dante, he's insane, and he's going on these long soliloquies about his dick. Nero, one of the abilities of his arm is that grappling thing. It's kind of like a Bionic Commando, Lost Planet style gameplay thing, and it allows for more platforming, and it really opened up how I was traversing through the level.
I was surprised there were a lot of platforming elements.
Yeah, more platforming.
The level filled with lasers.
I found the platforming very refreshing, and it added a lot to the game.
Well, I like the sequences where you can kind of slow down time, and that would affect combat. That was really cool and interesting.
And and the role-playing stuff, as always in Devil May Cry, you're upgrading your abilities, you're unlocking new stuff. It encourages you to keep playing and fight enemies, because that's the problem. In a lot of games, there's no reason to fight enemies. In this game, you have a reason to have combat with regular enemies.
I know everyone's Nero's for noobs and all this shit, but I don't know, using the Devil Bringer, there's so many ways you can use it, interestingly, to keep your combos going. It really felt like Dante was kind of a step back from a combat perspective.
Well, no, did you mess with the different styles? I mean,
I would switch
you
up.
really tried Royal Guard, you tried Trickster, you tried these different styles.
Gunslinger and then Devil Guard.
This is coming from David, who's just this
It's
first
true,
time
yeah.
Okay, so I think for real Devil May Cry fans, when you finally get Dante again, you're given everything. You have all his styles, you have all these cool weapons, and it's just a huge overload of options. People who think the combat isn't deep, they're insane. It's the deepest combat ever.
It could be as deep as you want it to be. It could just be a straight up button masher, and you can still do relatively well.
You barely even have time in the game to realize what Dante's capable of. That's why you have to play it again.
So why are you focusing on Dante so much?
But he's the star.
But you should focus on Nero, first of all.
Nero's the star of this game.
Yeah, David just found this awesome trick video where you can air counts in the air, keep on going up.
For a minute and a half, you just keep knocking them.
The Devil Bringer has a lot of uses that aren't apparent at first, and if you're used to playing as Dante, you won't even want to use it at the beginning. You don't have to, and the game feels kind of slow and limited because you don't have all those moves that Dante has.
I didn't like it when I was playing Dante, and I played DMC 1, DMC 3, beat DMC 1 on Devil May Die mode, and I was like, wait, why am I playing Dante? I spent so much effort playing Nero. I got so accustomed playing Nero. Now I have to switch styles. And I'm fumbling through controller, trying to switch styles, and it's just like, it was incongruous to me.
The Pandora weapon is the coolest weapon
Oh, it's
in
very
any
cool.
Devil May Cry ever. The mini game of having to like input these different motions on the analog stick to keep transforming it is like a really deep and complex new way to approach like guns in this game.
In order to use it, there's a long startup time. Most people won't use
I was able to use it effectively against bosses. Like during regular combat,
Try
not
it
so much.
on hard mode, when the bosses are way tougher. Try it. The core strategy is run up to the boss, dodge it, slash it, then use the Yamato, or use the Devil Trigger to increase your attacks.
Yeah.
Well,
But
this-
if you're spending so much time in the Pandora's box, you don't have time to do anything. You're stuck in the animation and you can't cancel it. It's like almost like Lost Planet.
Okay, speaking about bosses, get ready to fight every boss 3 times through your first playthrough of the game. Typical of Japanese action games is you fight them all twice. In this one, you fight them all thrice. Where Capcom decided to make you fight these bosses again as Dante, they're just a cakewalk. I mean, they're not even like real. It's like a regular fight almost, you know?
Right.
Because of that, the repetition isn't as horrible and damaging to this game as people might think. When you hear you fight the bosses 3 times, it's still fun. And Dante can like whip their ass so quickly that shows you the difference between Nero and Dante's gameplay.
I don't think you're playing Nero.
Yeah, I don't think you're playing him right because there were.
Do you ever use the instant rev?
Yeah.
Really? Every combo you do, everything that affects your style points,
To get
instant
like,
rev.
instant hit, the best hit on the rev, like that's kind of hard. That timing
But
is
that's
hard.
instant rev. That's
Right,
the whole point of
right.
instant
But
rev.
the
every
average,
time-
the average player won't be able to do that.
I've been doing it.
You're a Devil May Cry expert, dude.
I've been able to do
David,
it. Like,
alright.
not every time, but I can do it pretty consistently, like 1 or 2
Yeah.
times in the middle
No,
of the
It's
console.
crucial
Like,
for
the
gameplay. Instant rev is such a meta game of itself.
Yeah.
I
It
find
actually
it
kind of
compulsively
reminded
doing
me
it
of
every time.
It kind of reminded me of Gears of War when you get the active reload, and it's like all timing based. It really reminded me of that.
You know, there's some cool environments, some surprising twists, and there's so many unlockables and so many reasons to replay that there's actually a lot of length here. The difficulty ramps up well. You should play it through normal the first time and then switch to hard.
It's enough substance for the hardcore gamers, and it's definitely good pace for the casual gamer.
Yeah.
At a very core level, I think the gameplay of Devil May Cry 4 is maybe the best action-adventure hack and slash gameplay I've ever seen. More so than Ninja Gaiden, which before was my like high watermark pinnacle. Just the amount of moves at your disposal, the amount of style, and like the way it encourages you to play stylously, I think it's second to none.